When we're talking about the central bank of the United States, that is the Federal Reserve Bank. We call them the Fed, not the Feds, that's someone else. So the Fed has three main parts of its structure. The first is going to be the Board of Governors, so we call that the Federal Reserve Board. There's going to be 7 members on this board. They're appointed by the president, and each one serves a 14-year non-renewable term. So once you have finished your term, you're done. You're not serving anymore. You can't just be reappointed. The Board of Governors is going to oversee and regulate banks. They also are going to determine reserve requirements. What that means is banks are required to hold part of our deposits on reserve. Um, and so the Board of Governors is going to make that determination what that's going to be, what that percentage of your deposits that has to be held is called. Okay, so there's also a chair of the Fed, so that's the Board of Governors. So then there's going to be 12 regional Federal Reserve banks, and so those are spread out throughout the country. If you look actually on your dollar bill or whatever currency you have, it will have this little circle on it on the left on the front, and it'll say what Federal Reserve Bank that money was issued from. So there's 12 of them, so you can actually see which bank your funds were distributed from. So that's kind of cool. And the Federal Reserve banks, again, oversee their member banks, and they provide check clearing services. So what that means is, let's say I write a check out of a bank in Florida and I'm sending it to someone in California. So the way that money will transact is through the Federal Reserve banks. So they provide that service. So they basically are bankers' banks. Okay. And then the last one, which is the group that basically controls our money supply, is something called the Federal Open Market Committee. So the FOMC. So they're the ones that determine how much money is going to be out in the system and what the federal funds rate is, which is going to determine other interest rates. So their goal is to promote stable prices and economic growth through open market operations. So those are the three parts of the Federal Reserve Bank.